And welcome, everybody. Sean Palmer here, Seth and Sean Sports Radio. I have no idea why that sound is going on. There we go. Seth and Sean Sports Radio. Seth is going to be joining us momentarily. Again, we are in the tax season, as you will know. All of you should get in your taxes, whether that to be Seth Kamens or some other accountant. But here we are, or CPA. But here we are in the middle of the WBC, the end of the World Baseball Classic, the middle of the NCAA tournament, but more importantly, we got daylight savings time, right? So we got some sun outside. It's about 70 degrees here in Atlanta. Seth is joining right now. There he is. Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud. How you doing?
We got sunshine today.
On a cloudy day?
Well, I guess the more important thing is we have daylight savings time, which we did not have the last time we had this discussion. So here we are.
Here we are.
So a little surprise. Let's start with college basketball, but not the college basketball that you and I would normally talk about in the NCAA tournament. Not surprised at all by Rick Pitino returning to New York City.
No.
Not at all. Very surprised by Ed Cooley going to Georgetown. No?
Yeah, I find it disappointing.
Okay,
really
why?
do.
Why do you find it disappointing?
I like lifers. You're not going to a better program. You're going to a better recruiting area, more fertile recruiting ground.
Certainly a bigger program.
Not significantly. I mean, and you literally had, unless he figured that he could never win a championship at Providence.
Do you think he could win a championship at Providence?
Brett Stevens took someone to the finals twice at Butler. And look who the hell's left. It's a weird, who the hell knows?
I'd like to point out that you said Brett Stevens, not Brad. So I'm the one that can correct you on
does it make you feel like a big man?
It makes you feel good today. So
there you go.
Okay, so you're a little disappointed. But
yeah,
look, professionally good move for him. He definitely
he's making an extra $1 million a year, so sure.
Well, take away the money. It's you just said it. It's better recruiting, right? Mm-hmm. He's got definitely more fertile ground in the DMV than he does in Providence.
Yes, unquestionably.
Providence, Rhode Island, the smallest state in the union. You're competing against BC on the north. You're competing against St. John's and Rick Pitino in the south.
You haven't competed against St. John's in 20 years.
All right, you're competing against Syracuse and UConn, right? Oh, you're saying that they're not competing. You're saying that they don't even get
No, St. John's has been completely irrelevant since 1999.
No. I'm saying Providence is competing against BC.
Yeah, they're competing in the Northeast. Georgetown's competing in the Middle East. Good God, the Mid-Atlantic.
But are they really? Because Georgetown is a different ballgame than the other guys. Georgetown is, look, as much as I love Maryland, right? As I do, okay, they are not academically what Georgetown is. They are not.
I'm sorry. Have you seen the players that Georgetown has taken over the years?
Come on, in the last 15? I'm not talking about Allen Iverson. I'm talking about if you want a better education.
Yes, Georgetown is a wonderful school. Agreed.
So Cooley goes there. Pitino goes to St. John's. Not a surprise.
I was kind of hoping Pitino would go back to Providence, actually.
I was hoping he would go to Georgetown. I thought that would be an amazing.
That would have been fun, actually.
That would have been fun, right? But did you hear his press conference? Did you listen to any of it?
No. I heard he said, "I earned it."
No. Well, he said, "I earned it," which, whatever. I don't think he's earned crap, quite frankly. But he also said, basically, everybody's gone.
Yep, I did see that.
Welcome to the portal. I'm just going to start from scratch. And I'm interested in seeing how the name, image, and likeness works, there in St. John's. Because there are boosters. There are opportunities in New York. More than any other place, there are opportunities in New York. And you also know that there are no colleges that take part in those opportunities, right? No. I mean, Seton Hall, I guess, is quasi in the New York area. Ione is quasi in the New York area.
Yeah, but Iona is a different tier than a Seton Hall. But yes.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So when Syracuse can say we are New York's team and have billboards and taxi cabs having Syracuse University in New York City, there really is no team in New York City.
No.
And St. John's hasn't been the team in New York City in 20 years.
Really, they haven't been the team in New York City in 40 years, 35 years, 30 years. They were not, under Jarvis, I don't know if they were the New York City team. They had a couple good teams.
Yeah.
But they were not the Louis, Weddington, Mullen, Mark Jackson, Walter Berry, Willie Glass teams, which were beloved in the city and are to this very day.
Correct. But we're in a different have you ever been to St. John's?
No.
Okay, so St. John's has no campus. Understood,
right, I know that.
Right?
Yeah.
St. John's has absolutely no campus, which means in turn it has no campus life. I mean, no. Right. So I think it's really hard to recruit to St. John's. I don't know how Louis got. I mean, Mullen was a New York City guy, so it was really easy to get. It wasn't really easy. It was easier to persuade Chris Mullen to go. I think Walter Berry was a New York City guy as well.
I'm sure most 90% of the people that go to St. John's are New York City people. I mean, it's logical because
right.
what other?
How else are you recruiting, right, to these guys? So the question is, can Rick Pitino mine the New York City ball player again? And I don't think that's possible.
He's going to have NIL because the guy who started Vitamin Water has said he will now start giving money back to St. John's if Pitino comes.
Okay.
So he'll have some NIL money. I don't know. Nobody's ever done well betting against Rick Pitino.
This is true. Well,
and
yeah, I guess not. You're right.
No. Pitino has been whether I happen to like Pitino, but whether
he's been extremely successful, no matter where he is.
Successful everywhere.
Yep.
And look, he's won titles at 2 schools. He was a successful NBA coach.
He's down to a Final Four at 3 schools, right?
Final Four at 3, titles at 2. Brought 4 to the tournament. He's a really good coach.
Yeah.
Baggage aside, and I'll be honest, the baggage that's there, I'm not really sure how meaningful it is at this point. So
I got a better question. Is the baggage today? I love how we talk about coaches and programs, and this goes back a couple of years, in that these programs were on suspension or wherever else they were, and you can go back to SMU. The stuff happens at SMU today. That's allowed.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying most of this is now inconsequential.
Right. Reggie Bush can have his Heisman.
Short of Chris Beard beating up his girlfriend.
Yep.
Short of Dave Bliss allowing a murderer shielding a murderer to win some game. And short of things at that magnitude. Yep. And again, I'm not putting Chris Beard and Dave Bliss in the same hemisphere. But anything financial related, for all intents and purposes, is now meaningless.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, Syracuse's suspension, Reggie Bush's Heisman, right? Reggie Bush's Heisman is a piece of crap right now. Like, that argument, they should give him his Heisman.
Yeah, they should.
They absolutely should.
Well, the question also is, though, can you fixing something retroactively it was not legal when it was done?
Right. I get it. I completely understand ex post facto. Yep, get it. But I think you're right. I think Pitino is going to be successful at St. John's because he'll be there for 2 to 3 years, and he'll be very successful. And the fact is, he'll be successful because of the portal. He'll be able to bring people in that fit his system, and that's fine. That's fine. I think as much as it is for the student, is the coaches have been looking at free agency differently forever, right? They go where they want to go. Now it just evens the playing field.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I saw this today. Did you see what's this guy's name? Armando Baca.
He's coming back to North Carolina.
5th year. While we're talking about guys,
you know why? You know why? Because we're not sure if he's got a pro. Look, he was the National Player of the Year or one of All American last year, not this past year, the year before.
Yep.
He was hurt a lot of this year, but he probably makes more in NIL than he would playing in the G League or playing. He's probably not. He may not be a pro.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to make $1 million a year, I'm throwing a number out there. I don't know what the heck he makes playing for Carolina, or you make $400,000 playing in Turkey or Spain. Might as well enjoy one more year of college life, see if you can build it up again and go from there.
Well, and doesn't that lend itself to the concept of people might stay in college longer?
Yeah.
Right. Which is what you and I have been hoping for years.
It's not quite the altruistic way we were hoping for it, but
agreed. Not the altru, and with that, Judah Mintz declares for the draft this year.
Jameer Young, who is our best player this year, is pretty much he pretty much said he's open to the highest bidder out of what I was reading on Maryland's Twitter. And I mean, I don't think I think because he came home because he's a PG County guy.
Okay.
Right. I think
Georges County, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm from So he played well there. He was either all Big Ten or high second team Big Ten. He kind of got tired at the end of the year. And I think we have the chance to be really, really good next year. And if he wants to stay, I'd love for him to stay. I mean, I can't.
You can't begrudge these guys.
No, this is what the rules are.
Look, we've said this before, right? If you're a first-round pick, you should absolutely go, right? How is this any different? This is no different. If you have a chance to make money somewhere based on your talent, go. Go. I don't like it.
I don't have to like it, but this is what the rule is.
Exactly. I don't have to like it. So, okay, so let's talk about the NCAA tournament and what is actually going on. Or basically how messed up your bracket is, because my bracket's completely messed up. I think that happened when West Virginia lost in the first round. So I don't really remember where I stand on my bracket, so I'm going to go pick it up. I haven't looked at it since West Virginia lost, but I know I still have – look, I picked Tennessee to go to the Sweet 16, maybe the Final 8. So I know I still got them in, and I know I got UCLA, I believe, in the Final 4. So I think I got Houston winning it all. So, I mean, I do have my winner, if nothing else. I am 36th place in my bracket. 28 out of 63 picks were correct. Get you to 36th out of 142. I have Alabama. I have Creighton and Baylor. Excellent. Unfortunately, I have neither one. I have Creighton and Baylor, but then I have them both losing. I have Missouri. I have Penn State and Texas. Xavier and Pittsburgh. No, Pittsburgh's out. Sorry, I got Texas. Houston. Yeah, Texas and Houston. That's it.
All right. So I'm actually in second place. I'm looking for the first.
Wait, I got the bottom bracket. Sorry. Texas, Houston, Kansas State, Tennessee, Connecticut, and UCLA.
All right. I'm out of 15 in my office pool. I'm in second.
Wow.
I picked Alabama, San Diego. No,
how many of your Final 4 do you still have in?
3.
Me too.
I lost 2.
Houston versus Tennessee in the final.
I have Gonzaga versus Alabama in the final.
Okay. So how many points do you have right now?
I'm at 420 points.
That's not equating in here. So, okay.
Go to the top.
No, this is Yahoo.
I'm on ESPN. Okay.
I'm not exactly sure it's the same. So,
I have Alabama over. I have Alabama, San Diego State. I didn't have San Diego State. I have Alabama, Creighton left. I mean, in the final Sweet 16 of the South. I have Houston, Miami. I picked the Midwest perfectly. I have Houston, Miami, Xavier, Texas.
So my South bracket is screwed. I have nobody left.
In which one?
I have nobody left in the South. Zero.
Gotcha.
I
only have one team left in the East, and that's Kansas State, which I don't think makes me really much different from anybody else.
I got Tennessee.
There you go.
And Kansas State. I had them both.
And then in the other one, I have 3 of the 4. I just didn't have Arkansas over Kansas.
Right, because nobody did.
Exactly.
So okay, and so out of this bracket, where do you still see obviously your teams winning, right? Because they're still in.
I think Alabama has a cakewalk to the 4. I think Houston Miami is a hell of a Sweet 16 game. I think Houston's better, but Miami should have lost to Drake, but they looked brilliant. They looked absolutely brilliant against Indiana. I'm going to pick Texas over Xavier. I have no real pull one way or the other. I think Tennessee beats the living crap out of Florida Atlantic. I think I have Kansas State, Michigan State. Honestly, Michigan State looked fantastic. Kansas State looked fantastic. Flip a coin. Arkansas, Connecticut. I like UConn. Gonzaga, UCLA. Literally, whoever wins that, I would have had winning the championship.
I think I might actually in my pool. So I have Houston winning. So there are a couple of people that have Houston winning. But I don't think anybody else has Tennessee in the finals. So if I can get a Houston-Tennessee final, I think I'll win my pool.
Well, that's one of the reasons I went with Gonzaga, because if Gonzaga makes the run, nobody has them there.
Right. And that's why, I think if Tennessee makes that run, one of the guys has Houston. No, he's got Houston, Tennessee. So I'm done. That's it. Done and done. Okay, so we had a whole lot of upsets in the first couple of weeks, no question. And some of those people cashed in, right? Fairleigh Dickinson's coach is now the new Iona coach, which he played? One game? Right?
They actually played really well against Florida Atlantic. I
agree, but I'm saying he brought it's one game that made him an Iona coach. I mean, Fairleigh Dickinson.
That's what happens though in these tournaments. I mean, Andy Enfeld won 2 games for Florida Gulf Coast and became the head coach at USC.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. And Wichita State hired Oral Roberts coach today.
Wichita State hired Oral Roberts coach?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
They hired Paul Mills as the new coach.
Okay. I have no
Mills
idea.
went 106 and 84. You know what's funny about these schools? So I have no idea where Oral Roberts is. Do you?
I think it's in Texas.
Okay. Well,
doesn't a place like Oral Roberts sound like it belongs in Texas?
Look, at the end of the day, Texas has more universities than anywhere else in the country. So, okay, if you're going to say, especially athletic teams, are you looking up where Oral Roberts is right now? Of course you are. So,
yeah, I'm confirming.
So, when we were kids, the only reason I would know any of these schools was the NCAA tournament. The only reason I know what UAB is, University of Alabama at Birmingham, is because of the NCAA tournament. But I will tell you, when I picked the University of Texas at El Paso, I had no idea where the hell El Paso was, other than it said University of Texas.
I was incorrect. Oral Roberts is in Tulsa,
Oklahoma. Got it. Okay. Brett Stevens. Anyway.
He's a writer for the New York Times. I'm sorry.
So anyway, okay, some other college basketball news. It looks like the Pac-12 assist leader is entering the portal. I can give you all the portal information if you want, but nobody really cares.
Nobody cares.
When these guys actually pick a school, then we'll talk about it. And the first transfer to pick a school, JJ Starling.
Congratulations.
Hey, well, look. You don't get a top 25 recruit every single year. We just got it a year late. So, I mean, he's coming home. He's from Baldwin.
Is he from Syracuse?
Yeah, right outside of Syracuse, Baldwin.
How the hell did you lose him the first time?
We lost him in Notre Dame. Doesn't matter. He wanted to go to play with Mike Bray, and then Mike Bray left. But the funny thing is, look, I think people that go to Syracuse are incredibly smart. I am one of them. However, when you post something and say, I'm coming home to Syracuse University, and you have the Empire State Building in the background, that is a problem.
Does he realize that Syracuse is closer to the Rogers Center than he is to the Empire State Building?
Obviously not.
Did he not take geography at Notre Dame?
Obviously not. I am trying to find the picture of what he did. It was hysterical because I'm like, not so much. Yeah, I can't find it, but I'll find it at some point. But anyway, so all right. So we have the NCAA tournament. The Sweet 16 Elite 8 is this week, and then the Final Four is in Arizona, correct?
I don't know, since I'm no longer buying tickets, so it doesn't matter.
No, me neither.
I went further. Hey, look, we had a great year.
Went further than me, my friend.
You went further than you, and when your second and third best players combined for 1 for 14 from the floor, you're not going to beat the number one team in the country. But we played really hard. No, we played. Look, the defense we played in the first half was absolutely incredible. We just couldn't score, and Alabama's really good.
All right, here it is. I got it. Hold on. Need to show this. And I don't know why I feel the need, but I'm going to do it anyway. JJ Starling. Here we go. So in typical Syracuse University fashion, that is what JJ Starling says I am coming home to.
Is that the Empire State Building?
No,
or
that's the Freedom Tower. Freedom Tower, which is actually more south than the Empire State Building. So it's even further.
For those of you who don't live in the city or familiar, the Empire State Building is on give or take around 33rd and 6th.
Yep.
And the World Financial Center is all the way down right by the Staten Island Ferry.
Correct.
So,
but if you're not from New York, neither one of them is close to Syracuse.
No. It's about 4 or 5 hour drive.
Yeah, like 250 miles away, actually, from Syracuse University. So I'm coming home. Look, I'm happy he's coming home, but he ain't coming home to New York City. Not with that. So, okay. So we talked a little bit about that.
City.
What's that?
I said New York City.
New York City. It's a great college town.
Don't worry about it. Continue.
It's a great college town. Remember that? That was all. Anyway. Okay, so the Aaron Rodgers saga continues. And in fact, today, the Jets made a trade to try and solve that.
They traded Elijah Moore, who was not very happy there, in a third-round pick for a second-round pick, which I'm assuming will be compensation, part of the compensation.
Yeah, and they picked up McCall Hartman.
Yep.
So another loss for Pat Mahomes. My Lord, you think that they're going to be drafting a wide receiver in the first round? I mean,
no, I think they'll end up with Beckham.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I still think they'll draft a wide receiver in the first round. They're losing Hartman. They're losing Juju Schuster, excuse me. I mean, I still think
it doesn't matter.
It's Pat Mahomes.
It's Pat Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. It makes no difference.
So right now the Jets have 2 second-round picks, 42 and 43. Actually, it was the pick behind them, which I didn't realize.
That's kind of funny. Would you trade both for Rodgers?
Nope.
Second and a conditional fourth, something like that.
Yep. Well, here's the thing: if you trade both of them, and you don't have a guarantee that Rodgers is going to stick around for another year, that's a problem to me. So 2 second-round picks. Remember, what did the Jets trade 3 second-round picks for? The ability to move up and grab Sam Darnold.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm not really sure I want to trade 2 second-round picks for a guy for 1 year. So if I'm the Jets, I offer one of those second-round picks at a conditional fourth in 2025 in case. So if he plays in 2024, it'll upgrade it to maybe another second-round pick, and I'd be happy with that. There was an interesting article on Pro Football Talk today where Mike Florio says, you know what, New Yorkers just have to be New Yorkers at this point, and basically put your foot down and say to the Packers, do what you want. We'll stick around. We got nothing to lose. Do what, hold whatever leverage, because right now the Packers believe that they have leverage. I'm not sure what leverage they have
They got to pay him $58.3 million.
if he's on the team, and
He's on the team.
if you get to the draft, then the Jets hold all the leverage, because if you get past the draft, then you're not getting help for next year. You're getting help for the year after.
Right. And you need help this year to make a fair determination on whether Jordan Love can be your quarterback.
Exactly. Now, if you get to training camp, I'm just going through the cycles of what Florio had said. If you get to the training camp and Rodgers says, you know what, I'm going to show up and you can't put me on ice, now you risk the fact that he may get injured. And then you have a $60 million cap hit on a guy that may get injured and maybe sitting on your bench the entire year or on injured reserve. What that says to me is more leverage for the Jets. And if you're Aaron Rodgers, do you need to show up for training camp? No. You got Nathaniel Hackett's offense there. You don't need training camp. You don't need mini camp. I believe you need training camp.
You need at least the last 2 to 3 weeks of it.
Yep. Yeah. So
you don't need the first couple of weeks. You're Aaron Rodgers.
I think
you need to gain some familiarity with, because other than Alan Lazard, Devontae is not walking through that door.
Nope. But Corey Davis may, which I'm not sure is anything of worthwhile. So right now the Jets have 2 seconds, 42 and 43, and then a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth. So, and their first. But if you're the Jets, there's no chance that you give up that first round pick. Zero. No. Negative. Zero.
You're taking the offense. You're taking an offensive lineman.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep. Okay. Did you watch any of the World Baseball Classic? Any of it?
I saw highlights.
So you didn't watch last night's game at all?
No, I had client meetings, and by the time they were done, it was over.
Wow, that was a late client meeting on Sunday. Look at you working hard.
Sunday?
Oh, sorry, not Sunday, Tuesday. Excuse me. It's been a long week.
Yeah, it was a kind of an issue. I watched the first 2 innings of it. Look, everyone seemed to enjoy. It seemed pretty. It was nice to see Mike Trout in a somewhat relevant game.
It was nice to see Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani at the end.
Yeah, that was kind of neat.
I mean, here's the thing. Benji Gill, now we're old because Benji Gill used to be a player when we were
was a shortstop.
Yeah, right. So now he's the manager of Mexico.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Right. Hence, we're old. That's what it basically tells me. He was a 20-year-old rookie when we were kids. Now he's a manager. And Mexico lost to Japan, obviously, right?
I remember.
Right. So they lost. And Benji Gill came out, and of course, I'm paraphrasing here what he said. But he basically said was, we may have lost, but baseball won. Baseball as a sport won because of the quality of the games that were going on. Now, I was actually a little surprised. There was no pitch clock. Like, I only watched a couple of games, but there was no pitch clock. I would think that it would have incorporated the new rules, if nothing else. So now all these players have to now go to abbreviated spring training and learn how to hit under different rules, and pitch under different rules. But look, last night's game was wild. It was wild in Miami. It was wild all over. And if this is, and Rob Manfred has already said that 2026 we'll see this again without any problem. He's like, we are committed to doing this. Seth, you and I have been talking about how baseball has declined over the course of the last 5 to 10 years, if not 10 to 20 years at this point. This is a way for it to grow. It may not grow here, but it doesn't – in today's world, I don't think you need to grow only in the United States anymore. I think –
I'm looking up – I was actually looking up the viewership. I believe – I think I saw Japan had, I think, 62 million people watched it in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure 6.2 million watched it here. I think
that's kind of what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, I was looking at this too. Okay, so individual numbers, the World Baseball Classic at Chase Field had 44,000 people on hand to see Mexico beat the Americans. Chase Field hasn't seen 44,000 people for a Diamondbacks game since they won the World Series.
Since Randy Johnson was there?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the showdown between Japan and Korea had a 44.4 rating in Japan. That's insane. No Super Bowl has ever gotten 44.4. That's not 44 million people.
No. I understand that.
That's almost 50% of the viewing public was watching this game.
No, I know that. I'm trying to think. If not recently.
I'm looking it up right now. Highest rate. Oh, you're right. Sorry, the 1982 game.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been one more recently because they typically do about 100 to 120 million in viewers. So when the populace was around 250 to 270 million, it may have worked. It wouldn't now at 330.
Right. So the last time you were above that was 2016. You had, now this is the peak, right? This is, I guess that's what they're talking about, was 45.3. So you're right. You're right. There is a point in which, and that's just in the US. If you want to go internationally, obviously we're talking differently. And certainly in Japan, you have a lot less of a population than you do in the US to begin with. But so.
All right. Carly's called me twice. Let me pop off for 30 seconds.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. So the question really is, are you, our viewers, interested in watching this next year or in 2 years? I think it's amazing. Look, Shohei Ohtani got 1.36 million additions on Twitter. Twitter or Instagram? Hold on. He garnered the most followers of any player in the first round with 1.36 million more followers since March. Since March. Guys, that's insane. It's just baseball may not be the United States pastime anymore. And look, Seth and I have discussed this. Soccer obviously is overall the most popular sport in the world. No question about it. But I think you may have a case for baseball being over football. Not in the United States, but I think in the world, you may have a case. I don't know how to quantify that. I really don't. I mean, you got this Super Bowl ratings, but that's just one game. These were all the games. South Korea's matchup with Japan, average of 2.7 million viewers, was the most watched World Baseball Classic in Korea since 2009. Puerto Rico saw a 77% increase in viewership compared to the 2017 version. It's like we got you on Kiss Cam, except not Kiss Cam, right? I was saying worldwide, I think, look, we knock the fact that baseball has declined in the United States. We do it all the time. It's fine. It's a quantifiable number that we see this.
Yes.
But I would say baseball is probably the second most popular sport right now.
Worldwide, you said?
Worldwide. Soccer is basketball?
I would think so.
Okay. I don't know how you quantify it. I really don't.
Well, I almost look at it from significant professional leagues.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of them through Europe. There's a bunch of them in and maybe I'm just not as cognizant of the ones, but other than Japan, the Dominican Republic /
Japan, Dominican Republic, Korea, and Cuba, right?
Right. Other than, do you know any significant European baseball leagues?
No. In fact, there are no significant European baseball players.
So, but there are significant.
Max Kepler, I think, is Dutch. I think he's the only one.
Okay, but you get my point. There's a lot of significant basketball leagues. There's a bunch of significant soccer leagues. There's no significant baseball leagues, so I can't put that at the same tier.
Yeah. Okay. And I wonder, So is there a significant? I guess there is a significant. You see, China is that China and India are those two, like, who knows, right?
Yeah, we have no
There
clue.
is a significant, obviously, Chinese basketball league. We know
Yes.
that. Yao Ming came from it, right? I don't know if there's a significant Chinese baseball league. And if there is, then that opens up a whole.
Well, it also may not be significant. I mean, again,
Correct.
significant to us.
Correct. But we're talking
I mean,
about
we read sports hours a day, and neither of us know anything about one if there is.
Correct. And we're talking about over 1 billion people. I mean, actually, I think, okay. I'll go with that. So will you watch it next time based on this? Or is it just
Probably not. It also depends on the timing. It's going against the NCAA tournament.
Right.
It's baseball. I mean, unfortunately, as there are certain sports that you have a love for that you just don't have the same affinity for as you get older.
That is certainly true.
And
I will tell you, I did not watch last night's game until the 8th inning. So I was watching the Islanders until the 8th inning. And then the Islander game ended. I was like, wait a second, we have the championship of the World Baseball Classic. And I got to see Mookie Betts grounded to a double play, as only Mookie Betts does. But Jeff McNeil got the walk, so I was happy. And then I saw Trout versus Ohtani, and it was electric seeing those two guys.
Look, the 9th inning of any playoff elimination great game is incredible. So, because it's the best of sport. You have the best baseball hitter in the world against the best baseball player in the world. It's not much better theater.
It's possible because the games will be shorter. So part of the reason I think people like soccer because it is a truncated time frame.
It's 2 hours and done.
Right. Because it is certainly not, and you may argue with me, it's certainly not the, quote, action on the field. Because there is not a lot of action in soccer.
Soccer, to me, is the perfect thing to have on the background when you're doing something else.
Correct. And
I have it on in the background while I'm working. I don't have to follow every second of it.
Yep.
And that for me serves a purpose really nicely.
And I think basketball is the same way. 2 to 2.5 hours, you're out, if not, right? And I think hockey, while hockey doesn't have the same following, I think people enjoy hockey for that same reason. You have a time constraint. Baseball is the only sport that does not have a time constraint at all. Well, that and cricket, but we're not talking about cricket. But the fact is,
we're not talking about cricket.
We're not
talking about cricket.
But do you think the fact if they shorten the games to like 2 to 2:20? Look, spring training.
I think it would be I do think it would significantly help.
Yeah.
I don't think for my demographic. I think I'm outdated.
Yeah.
I'm a 46-year-old male. I don't think they're trying to bring me back in.
Right.
But the idea is to make it more interesting to a younger demographic. And 2 to 2.5 hours is about the time frame that people have for a sport, shorter, except for football.
And it's funny because you ask the attention span of a child, and they'll be like 2 to 2.5 minutes. I think 2 hours is a lot. Okay, so we're coming down to, and we talked about this last week a little bit. We're coming down to the nitty gritty in basketball and in hockey, right? So basketball, we have probably 10 games left, give or take, on each of the team's schedules, and then we get to the playoffs. You interested in the playoffs?
Always.
Okay.
I mean, again, it coincides with the time where I'm working really hard, so it makes my life a little bit easier during that time.
Fair enough.
But
I think there are definitely some anomalies in when you look at the standings of the National Basketball Association. I'm going to point these out to you, which is really strange. The Cavs are the 4 seed. They are, which is fine. They're 3.5 games up on the Knicks. They're probably going to stay in the 4 seed, which is really good for them considering they're 17-20 away and 29-8 at home. Like it's pretty good that they're there.
They're the University of Maryland.
Then you have and the Heat, who are probably in the play-in, they're the 7, are 15.
I don't think they're going to be in the play-in. They'll pass the Nets.
Pass the Nets? Yeah, it's a half a game. Well, they're going to be playing the 76ers with a 15-21 away record. Then if you look at the West, and look, guys, you're always going to play better at home. Right?
Hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
In regards to the Miami Heat.
Yeah. Do you care?
You care? Like, it's such a veteran team that I don't think you take the road record, and the home versus road record into account. They're a team that's trying to be healthy for the playoffs.
I take that Miami Heat team as a team that has been outscored this year by a half a point, like on the average, half a point. They've gone 6-4 in their last 10. They've given up 109 points this year, which is probably more than they generally give up. But the fact is, this is not your typical Miami Heat team. Kyle Lowry has been hurt most of the year.
Kyle Lowry's never been a relevant part of a Miami Heat team.
But he needs to be in order for this team to win. So, yes.
By the way, if you look at the 109 points, which in theory sounds very high based on what we've seen.
I understand. Look
at the rest of the conference. There's only one team that's lower.
I get it. But they're only scoring 109.5. They're giving up 1.5 more per game. I just don't see this Miami Heat team as the same as they've been in the past. It's a little older. But then you look down in the Western Conference, and this is what I was telling you before. You assume that teams are going to have a better record at home than they do away. That's called home court advantage. If you look at the Denver Nuggets, they're 30-6 at home, which is ridiculous. And they're 18-18 away. Okay, but let's scroll down to the 6th seed. And what do you see?
Oh, I thought you were going to go to the 3.
Sacramento?
Look at their away record.
Sacramento is playing phenomenal away at 22-14. Memphis is 14-22 away. But how about go to the number 6 seed who will be playing away in the first round? You see what I'm looking at here?
First of all, if you look at teams 4 through 12,
yep,
4.5 games separate.
I get it.
9 teams.
Seth, how many games on the road did the Golden State Warriors win in their march to the title last year?
I'm assuming more than 8.
5. No, they won 5. They only
won I think you meant during the whole season. Okay.
No. I'm sorry. In the playoffs, they won 5 games away. They have only won 8 games away in the entire season. So,
again, does it matter?
I don't know.
If let's say they hold the 6.
Okay.
Is anyone going to take them to lose to Sacramento? Anyone?
I think I would.
To be contrarian.
No, look. You and I both think. Yeah,
we both love Sacramento, but
love Sacramento. But
look, if the Clippers fall to the 6 with Paul George out for a couple weeks,
yeah. So they play the Suns, which will be a tremendous matchup. Suns and Warriors.
If Paul George is out,
no, Suns and Warriors in the first round.
Oh, that would be a boatload of fun. That's a blast.
That's what I want to see, right? You want to see 4-5. You want to see Suns versus Warriors because you can't pick 2 teams that work any more differently than those 2 teams. Period.
And God, I would be rooting for Golden State.
Would you really?
Oh yeah. Why would I root for Phoenix?
I know. Okay, so Minnesota 12.5 out. It's not even, dude. The Pelicans are 13 out. The Lakers are 13 out. Utah's 12.5. First of all, Utah's 12.5. Right? Obviously, that tank didn't happen, even though they traded everybody. The Mavericks are 12. That obviously has not helped because they were better before Kyrie than they have been since Kyrie. And Oklahoma City has 12 as well.
The tank that didn't tank.
I don't think they were trying to tank, though.
Once Holmgren was – remember, you're trying to get the best prospect at a minimum since Anthony Davis.
I get it.
And possibly since LeBron.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all trying to tank.
Well, now it's the Hornets, the Pistons, the Spurs, and the Rockets have the best chance. And I got to tell you, I'm rooting for the Spurs to get them.
I'm rooting for Portland.
That's true. No, well, Portland isn't in the top 4. They can't jump up. I don't think they
can. About it. Of course, they can jump up.
I thought you can only jump 4 spots.
No, you can always be a 1 seed.
Oh no, sorry, that's the NHL. The NHL can only jump 4 spots. You can't jump from the 6. You can't jump from the 12 to the 1 in the NHL. You can only jump up 4 spots. So,
I mean, look at this play-in. I mean, my God.
As in good or bad?
It's insanely good. You are literally talking that teams 4 through 12 could be in the play-in.
Yes.
Now, unlikely it's Phoenix, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
Durant's out too. So, I mean.
Yeah. But I find it unlikely they'll fall 3 seed. They'll fall that far.
I would agree.
But the Clippers certainly can.
Yep.
Golden State can.
Yeah, all Golden State has to do is play away for 3 games, and they'll be in the play-in game.
I mean, there is a chance that Golden State could miss the play-in.
Yes, there is a chance.
They have 4 games on the road and 5 games at home.
Yeah, I was looking at their schedule actually, which I'm sure you were as well.
No, I'm just looking at home versus away.
At Dallas, home against Philly, which is not a win at all to me. Home against Minnesota, probably a win. So let's go away against Dallas. I'm going to call every away game a loss just because they're 9-28 away. So 1 loss against Dallas, home against Philly, I'll count that as a loss. Home against Minnesota, win. Home against New Orleans, probably a win. So it's 2-2. Home against San Antonio, win. Away at Denver, 3-3. Home against Oklahoma City, 4-3. Away against Sacramento, which may actually determine whether they make the playoffs or not. Away against Sacramento, and then away against Portland for you. So you can. I mean, they'd have to win half of what they've won on the road already.
It's 2 games. It's doable.
Yeah. No, I get it. So, but look, the playoffs are fun. We all know that. You like the play-in tournament? Is that something
I enjoy it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the rules of the play-in tournament, we'll get into this more, of course, is that if you are the lower seed, you have to win 2 games. If you are the upper seed, you have to win 1, right? And
no, I don't think that's how. Is that how it works?
I think that's exactly how it works.
I think that's how it works. Yeah.
And where are the games played?
At the home team, at the higher seed.
All 3?
I thought they were each 1 game, and they're played at the higher seed.
That may be. Oh, it's 2 games. Oh, right. So you got to win 2 games. You're right. So it's 1 game. If the higher seed wins, it's over. And if the lower seed wins, they have to win that second game. Exactly. You're exactly right. So, okay, so we got 10 minutes to go. Let me ask you this. When you were growing up, look, the NBA lost truly a legend this week. Truly a legend. And as a Knicks fan, today you think, okay, Carmelo Anthony, you think Patrick Ewing. But in the 1980s, you didn't think either one of those guys. And quite frankly, you didn't think Walt Frazier either. You thought Willis Reed. Like, there was one guy, and that was it. As a Knick, you didn't think Bill Bradley, you didn't think Dave DeBusschere.
You're talking about as the best Knick of all time? Or you just think of this logo of the Knicks, quote unquote?
The guy of the Knicks, was Willis Reed. And I didn't realize Reed only played 10 years. That's all
his knees gave out pretty early.
Agreed. But I don't know, Seth, aside from Jordan today, okay, there are not many teams that have that one guy. There just aren't.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, so tell me, so do the Bucks have one guy? No. Okay. Do the Celtics have one guy?
No.
Do the Sixers have one guy? No. It could be Iverson, Moses Malone, Dr. J, Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh, fair. No.
Okay.
But
the Cavaliers have one guy. Okay,
Yes.
it's LeBron, right?
Minnesota has one guy.
Hold on. We're going to go down. Does Brooklyn have one guy? No.
Brooklyn or New Jersey as a franchise as a whole?
Even if it's New Jersey, who's the one guy? Dr. J? Maybe.
Yeah, I would think so. But
Does Miami have one guy? Maybe Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne Wade, yes.
Okay. The Hawks have one guy? No. The Raptors have one guy? No. It's either Vince Carter or Tracy McGrady.
No, I was going to say Kyle Lowry, but yeah.
Okay, then we really don't have one guy. The Bulls have one guy. The Pacers, Reggie Miller. The Wizards, definitely not. The Magic, definitely not. The Hornets.
I was thinking about the Magic, but Shaq, Penny, no.
The Hornets, no.
No. They don't have any guys.
The Pistons, no.
Yes, Isaiah.
You think Isaiah gets that every single time you said Mr. Piston, it would be Isaiah, not Joe Dumars?
Yeah.
Okay. Denver? No. It could be Dave Thompson. It could be
No, I wasn't disagreeing.
Right.
It would be
Okay,
Dan Issel, but no, I don't.
Memphis, no. Sacramento, no. Well, Sacramento, maybe if you go back to the Royals, maybe Oscar Robertson, maybe.
It's nobody
But
thinks
nobody remembers that he played there. The Suns, no. The Clippers, no.
the
Who, Danny
Clippers.
Manning?
I was going to say Chris Paul.
Okay. Golden State, no. Still not one guy.
It is. It's Curry.
Okay, so let's say it's Curry. Oklahoma City's definitely not.
No,
Mavericks, Dirk. It's Dirk.
for now,
Timberwolves, it's Garnett.
unquestionably.
Utah, it's
Stockton Malone. Pick.
okay. You want to pick one? That's fine. The Lakers don't have one guy.
No.
The Pelicans don't have any guys.
No, it would be Anthony Davis. So I mean,
The
no.
Trailblazers don't have one guy. They will. They'll have Dame. Dame will be the guy.
Right now, it's Drexler. It will be Lillard.
It could be Bill Walton.
He was there 2.5 years.
I'm saying to the cat. Remember, Clyde was there a lot longer than Willis Reed.
About a year longer, 2 years longer. Okay.
San Antonio is Duncan. And Houston is probably Hakeem. Yeah. So let's say that there are 8 guys right now.
Mhm.
8 guys. Of those 8, 4 of them weren't there when we were kids. So there were 4 guys.
Yeah, but when we were kids, it was a little bit easier. When we were kids, the Sixers were Wilt.
Okay.
When we were
that's fair.
kids, the Celtics were probably Russell or Cousy.
Well, you just said 2, right?
It was Russell.
Okay.
I mean,
But the Rockets weren't Hakeem. The Spurs weren't Duncan.
No.
I mean, those didn't occur, right? I mean, there was no Stockton Malone before.
No.
I mean, right? So who was the Utah Jazz? I don't even know who it would be. Before Darryl Griffith?
it was Pete Maravich.
Pete Maravich.
They were the New Orleans Jazz. But yeah, I get your point.
Right. So I just think when you talk Willis Reed, I really don't think he gets the respect that he probably deserves as an all-time great. He does from Knicks fans, but I don't think he legitimately across the board gets it.
I don't think he gets it as much from Knicks fans. I think in most Knicks fans' mindset, he's been surpassed by Ewing.
Yeah, I
really know
don't
how.
see that. Willis Reed won an MVP.
Wait a minute. Hold on, though. When you did your top 10 list of all time for center,
Yeah.
The 70s.
You're right. I didn't put Willis Reed in there. You're right.
Yeah, but Ewing was there.
You're absolutely right. I'm agreeing with you. You're right.
So
Yeah, he's an undervalued all-time great.
yeah. And
Does he fall in the Elgin Baylor category?
no, Baylor was a better player.
No. I'm talking about an underappreciated.
Forgotten over time.
Yeah,
No, because of Game 7 of '69
that's fair.
or Game 7 of '70.
That's fair.
That is his legacy. Now, the irony was he may have had 4 points in the game, And Frazier went for 39, 15, and like 10.
And nobody remembers his game.
Nobody remembers. But to look at Frazier's numbers, they're absolutely insane.
Yep.
But Frazier had such a panache about him, and such an image that everybody remembers and loves him. Reed, was just that quiet, determined leader, and when it was done, his body just gave out.
So to answer your question, Walt Frazier went for 36,
17.
36, 19, and 7. He shot 70% from the field. 70. He went 12 for 17 and 12 for 12 from the free throw line. Like, wow. And that's a guard, ladies and gentlemen. That's not a center. That reminds me of something. I mean, if you want to hear the GOAT of that game, it's right here. Wilt Chamberlain goes 21 points, 24 rebounds, 4 assists, but he goes 1 for 11 from the free throw line.
And that's why Wilt Chamberlain's not in anyone's top 5 of all time, as great as he was.
Yeah. All right, so we got 5 minutes to go. Do you have anything to add at this point?
I just want to. I deserve a pat on the back.
Slight.
Please, you give that one to me. I deserve that on the show.
You did.
What did I text you? What did I say?
You did. First of all, you didn't pick them in your tournament. So
no one's picking a 116. Come on.
But you did say that Fairleigh Dickinson had the right team to beat Purdue.
I said what I texted was, if there is ever a 116 game that to me looks like it could be that looks like an upset waiting to happen, this was it.
You did. Okay. So I'm not sure we touched upon this last week, so I'll bring it up today. Mets fans cannot have nice things.
No, you can't.
Because of all the things that happened in the World Baseball Classic. Well, to be fair, it also happened to the Astros. The Astros get their guy back in 2 months. And Edwin Diaz jumping no higher than, I don't know, the baseboard on a floor comes down in celebration and tears his patella tendon. And if you want to see the only other patella tendon injury I remember, well, there are 2. Sorry, they both happened on the football field. And I suggest if you are squeamish, you do not look up Gary Baxter or Wendell Davis, who tore both of them on the same play and went down like they were shot. Gary Baxter was a cornerback for the Browns. Wendell Davis, a wide receiver, I believe, was playing for the Bears against the Eagles on the Veterans Stadium turf, which just tells you all you need to know about that. Okay, next week we'll have Final Four predictions. We'll talk a little bit of hockey. I know because look, dude, we're going into the playoffs, so we'll talk a little bit of hockey. For Seth Kamens, who's over there, I'm Sean Palmer over here. Great show, everybody, and have a great week.